If it's a good morning, you can say amen. It's so good. I'm so thankful to be here. Logan's been playing hooky for the last little while, so I'm thankful that I can be here this morning, and I'm appreciative of all your prayers. If there's any of you that are visiting today, we always have visitors, and I've already met a few. We want you to know you're welcome. You're not in anybody's seat. You're perfect right where you are, and we want to get out there and get to know you and meet you. And if you're new to the area, sometimes we have visitors who just moved to Durant. This is like the Hope Valley of southern Oklahoma, okay? This is our favorite place to be. We love it here, and we hope you stay. And more than anything, we hope you stay and visit us again. Well, the human body is one of the most fascinating creations that God has made. And to be honest, 2 or 3 weeks ago, as some of you know, my left eye looked like a ball of red beef after a bad accident. And so I go to the doctor, and the doctor sends me to Tulsa and says, "You're going to lose your eye. You need to go to Tulsa. They're going to take your eye out." Well, that's not great news. And so we go to Tulsa, and all this works out. And then here I am today, and I have 20/20 vision in both eyes. And someone said, "Well, how does that happen?" Well, if you talk to an atheist, the atheist will say, "Well, it was those eye drops." And he'll say both those eye drops and all the medical doctors and anything else, we just don't know what it is, but that's what happened. Well, I know better than that. I know in whom I have believed. And I know that he is able. I wasn't plugged into the wall. You know, we don't have a cord where we just plug into the wall, electricity, and we're charged, we're all back to normal, everything's great. A lot of you have had wounds, a lot of you have had surgeries, a lot of you have had incisions, a lot of you have healed. You get a cut and you heal. A lot of you understand that. And so the body heals itself. And man did not make that happen. God is making healing happen. God is causing that healing to happen. And those of you, we might call you experienced Christians, okay? Those of you who are a little bit experienced, okay? I won't say the word. You're a little more experienced. You understand that we're only here for a short time. You understand that our bodies get feeble, our bodies get frail, and as we get older, things happen. Hebrews 9:27, there's the point where here is death and here is judgment, and all of us cannot escape that. Every single person on this earth cannot escape death and judgment. In Ecclesiastes chapter 12, it talks about remember your Creator in the days of your youth. And then he goes on to talk about how your bodies are going to get older. Your men, it says strong men will start to stoop. That's what the scripture says. It says you're going to tremble, is what the text says. It says your eyes are going to grow dim. It says your ears are going to, the sounding is low, it says. Some of you are like, what? What did he say? When the sounds grow low. And some of you are experienced and understand that. The truth is that the human body has these cells, and it's this dynamic living unit by God that he has created, and it is constantly searching for ways to heal itself. And it is constantly trying to build a bridge over those wounds and heal itself. In fact, somebody told me, I'm no doctor, but somebody said, if bone spurs, if anybody has any, that's actually the body trying to do more than it should to heal that spot. Trying to heal it so much that it causes those bones to grow even more. But for a wound, it's like there's these blood vessels, and it's like there's this lymphatic system, of tissue and things like that. And then there's this immune system, and it's like there's this conductor on a train, and he's like, okay, we got a wound. And we got to get 10-4, right? We got to get the immune system, the lymphatic system, and blood all to that spot as fast as we can, and we're going to heal it. An immune system, you better kick in because we don't want any infection. It's purely amazing to me how cells, new and old, are pushed to the side of an injury or organs or places where there's ginormous, it's like the hundreds of thousands of things working in unison to heal. And without getting into details, we can say this: the human body is constantly working to heal itself. That's the power of God. But also with that, I remember a game that we played at church camp when I was a kid. And they would each give us a ball of twine, and they'd put us all in a circle. And you would say, Brady Holiday, I appreciate you so much for this and this and this. And I would toss that twine over to Brady, and then he would do that to somebody else, and we're all in a circle. And before long, here is this ginormous web of string. And it reminds me of Ephesians 4, where we are tightly knitted together, jointly together, and every single unit is one under the head, who is Christ. So with that, I will say number 2, the body of church, the church body, the Lord's church, should constantly work to heal itself. In the name of Christ, Paul said, let there be no division among you. This is his church. This is his church. In other words, that means if we start to divide for whatever reason, if we start to say, you know what, I've decided I'm not going to talk to people. Or you know what, I've decided that person made me so mad. Listen, this is his church. It's not mine. Let there be no divisions among you. We can't allow the body to divide. And like our physical body, if there is a wound, then it's kind of interesting to me. We got to get the blood to the site of that wound immediately. The blood of Christ. In the Old Testament, God provided all kinds of protection for people. Remember the old law, Leviticus 13, if someone has leprosy and then they quarantine them for 7 days. Read chapter Leviticus 13 sometime. It's like if this happens, then this happens, and this happens. And we didn't even come up with quarantining for 7 days until a lot later. The Bible's way ahead of our medical teams, I'm telling you. The Bible was way ahead of everything. Quarantine for 7 days, and if they come back and they still have it and it's spreading, then they will be put out, and they will be cast out permanently. It was a dreaded disease. Leprosy was awful, and you became the outcast. You were pushed out. I can't even describe what that was like. It's permanent. There's no bridge of healing for you. Imagine that. No bridge. And they pushed them out of the city. Imagine being a leper for a minute. You come and you show someone your wounds, and they see that they're deep, and they see that they're growing, and they see the flesh is falling off, and they say, okay, you have to be pushed out of the city with no one else, with no contact with anyone, forever. And you know what? And here comes Christ, and here he comes and he says, I'll tell you what, I will bring blood, healing blood, to all people and to everyone. And you know what? I'm going to die and sacrifice myself outside the city gates where they put those people. Isn't that awesome? And so here is Christ, and he is constantly reaching across boundaries to heal. Paul said in Galatians 3:28, listen to the dividing things here. There is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither slave nor free. There is neither male or female. All are one in Christ. And in fact, in Luke chapter 4, he says here, he sent me to proclaim liberty to the captives, to bring sight to the blind, to set at liberty those who are oppressed. That's Jesus. And we often want to focus on that dividing fence, don't we? Anybody like that? I am at times. But here's the fence. Here's the line. I want to focus on those things. I want to focus on that. Christ came and he brought the bridge of healing to everyone. And he basically said to everyone, I hope you're hearing this. He basically said these words, your boundaries don't mean anything to me. That's what Jesus said. The boundaries that you have created don't mean anything to me. Slave or free, it doesn't matter. Your boundaries don't mean anything. I will go up to those people. I will touch the leper. I will go next to the outcast. But Christ wasn't some miracle healer in that sense, just a healer. He came to proclaim the truth to a lost and dying world. The Gospels show us more than a dozen healings, if you understand that, the miracles that happen, and he walks up to those outcasts and all those people, and this was at a time when disease was rampant, and he would come up to people and he would heal them. It wasn't 50% healed, was it? It wasn't 60% healed, 100% healed. The Son of God didn't let a roof stop him. The Son of God didn't let Samaritan people stop him. It didn't matter. The Son of God didn't, it doesn't matter that someone was dead 4 days, come out of the grave in John 11. Didn't matter. Which brings me to faith healers today, just for a moment. I want to focus on that for a minute. I think it's disappearing. I think faith healers are disappearing today. It's the one thing we might say that Christianity and atheism has in common. They both understand that it's a hoax. They both understand that it's based off money. They both understand it's based off an abuse of power. They both understand that it is false teaching. If that's the case, if somebody says, well, I believe in faith healers, then we get all the faith healers together and we send them to the children's hospitals and let's see the results. Because I don't know, it's just me. That's the first place I want to send them. Folks, miracles weren't almost miracles. They weren't built on money or anything like that. His success rate was 100%. He cast out spirits with his word, and it says he healed all who were sick, Matthew 8:15. He healed all who were sick. I think about it. Somebody told me one time they think the healings were a hoax. It's 3 or 4 years ago. I said, if there were a hoax, then Judas, that would have been what he went with instead of 30 pieces of silver. He would have said, this is a hoax. But he brought the silver back, and you remember what he said? I have betrayed innocent blood. Turn to Ephesians chapter 2 for a minute. Ephesians chapter 2, I want to show us the healing that we are in need of, or we're in need of. And you were dead. Nekros is the word. And you were dead. It's on the screen. And you were dead. Nekros. That's the same word used in other passages for dead. Same word used in Luke chapter 9 for dead. Let the dead bury their own dead. It's dead. You understand the meaning of dead? It's not alive. Real deep, isn't it? No life. You were, that means all of us. We were dead. And just as physically those lepers had to be cast out, so you and I also. Cast out from the fellowship of God. The very fellowship of God, dead. Without Christ, we were the leper. Without Christ, we were those in need, as the song that we just sang. I think of the verse in Isaiah 59 and verse 2 that says, your iniquities has separated you between you and your God. But oftentimes we don't quote verse 1 of Isaiah 59 that says, is the Lord's hand so short that it cannot save? What a question. Is the Lord's hand so short that it cannot reach the bridge and be the bridge across to people that he loves dearly? You know, Christ is present and ready to hear our needs. I would add to that, and to heal our needs. Come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, he says, and learn of me. You know, how many of those in the Gospels came to Christ with a need? Can you imagine being the people trying to reach through a crowd just to touch Jesus? In need. That's why I love that song, In Need. Could you admit to Christ this morning Could you say those words, Lord, I need you? I want to ask that a question again. Maybe not everybody heard me. Are you in a place where you say those words to God, Lord, I am in need? You know, right after my hip surgery a few weeks ago, just because of the spinal that they did, I guess they went in too far, okay? They went in too far, something happened. I told Summer in our living room, I said, call an ambulance right now. Something's happening back here in my head and my neck, and I'm about to explode. My blood pressure's going up. Something bad's going on. I've never said those words before, well, like 3 times this month, maybe. Call an ambulance, okay? Call an ambulance. So they strap me in the ambulance. They take me to the hospital. Don't know these people, rolling me in. And you know what? Out of all these 40 or 50 people doing different things and the ambulance drivers and all this, and I look out there and I see Andy Parsons about from here to the back wall. And he's doing work over there. And I'll never forget it because I yelled for Andy Parsons. I yelled. Why? Because I knew he was talented in his medical experience and knowledge. Because he's my brother. I yelled. How long has it been since you cried out to God, I'm in need? Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 4. But God, being rich in mercy, because of the great love with which he loved us, even when we were dead, made us alive. And he raised us up with him, and he said, I don't care about the barriers. I don't care about your boundaries. I don't care that you were dead in sin. He said, I care about you. I don't know how many of you listen to music. Music is really, most of you know that, is really important to me. I kind of believe it's kind of healing to me. I love to listen to music out there. I think rap music gives people headaches, but that's okay. There are certain music that I like. There's certain lyrics that I like, and one of the greatest songs I believe to ever be written. I know that's a strong statement. It's not necessarily my favorite song, but I believe it's one of the best songs ever to be written. It was written by Paul Simon, and it's called Bridge Over Troubled Water. And I like to twist lyrics sometimes, and I look at the lyrics and I think, you know what? Paul Simon probably didn't know what he was saying when he wrote these words, but I want to read some of these words to you. When you're weary, is how he starts off. Feeling small. When tears are in your eyes, I will dry them all. Who do you think of? I'm on your side. When times get rough and friends just can't be found, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down. Like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down. See, there's this rushing water with all these things happening, and you can't get across, and it's awful, and it's between us and God. And God, through his Son, out of love and mercy for us, in Ephesians 2, he lays this bridge across, and he says, I will lay me down. I'll be the bridge if you hear my voice. If you love me. You notice these conditions. If you hear my voice, if you love me, and you start to walk across that bridge because you understand, Lord, I hear your voice. Lord, I love you. If you abide in me, he says, I will abide in you. You start to walk across that bridge. He says, he that believeth and is baptized shall be saved. I'm going to walk across that bridge. And somebody says, wait a second. This morning in a crowd like this, I haven't walked across that bridge. I'm not a Christian. Has Jesus Christ died in vain? Is his blood in vain that we just say, I don't know how to walk across. Find out, meet with someone. I plead with you. There's healing on the other side, not only for today, but there is eternal healing for forever if you get to the other side. If you walk in the light, as he is in the light. That means holiness. That means hungering and thirst after his righteousness, after his will. It's doing his will. If you walk in the light as he is in the light, then notice something. You have fellowship one with another, and the blood cleanses you from all sin. I remember in the Old Testament, you remember someone asked, whose side are you on? Or why do you halt between two opinions? The blood of Christ cleanses us. I want to tell you in closing about a man and his wife. This is John and Ruth Cook from Wilburton, Oklahoma, and their grandson. Ruth cleaned our church building over there while I was working over there, and she was there 2 or 3 times a week, and Ruth and I struck up a fantastic relationship. You talk about hilarious. This woman was hilarious, okay? She would come in and talk to me, and we would have this fantastic, humorous conversations all the time. And we just had a joyful friendship, and she would talk about over and over. She said, Logan, I'm just praying for my husband. I'm praying for my husband. He will not come to church. He will not come to church. No matter what we did. We went and visited with John. I visited with John face to face numerous times. I tried to get John in places where he couldn't go anywhere, okay? Just to see him face to face. Talked to him numerous times, and it was her prayer, her earnest prayer, that John would come to worship, that John would understand and have a relationship with God. Well, about a year ago, Ruth got COVID, and one thing after another, and a couple weeks later, she passed away. And it was a hard loss for the church, small congregation, hard loss for the church. I got a call this week from the Wilburton church, and they said John is attending every single Sunday, and the church loves him, and he loves the church. And I would say about that, if you're praying, and keep on praying, it's in God's time, not ours. It's in God's time, not ours. Her greatest prayer came true. Christ offers healing because of the blood. So I ask you this morning, are you in need of that healing? Are you a child of his? Are you on the side of the bridge with Christ? Are you walking in the light as he is in the light? Is there a conviction of your sin? When you sin, is there a conviction inside you that you know you need to come to God? You know you need to confess your sin. You know you need to make things right. Is that conviction there? You know, there's a great group of people here I love dearly. If anyone has a need, you need to come to Christ, you can come to him right now as we stand and sing.